Mario Kart Double Dash is my favorite Mario Kart game ever. It has so much going for it. The only place where the game is lacking is the amount of courses. There are only 16 in the game, which is surprisingly low. It's actually the lowest amount in the series. I thought it would be fun to rank every single course in the game from worst to best. I'm only counting the race courses, none of the battle tracks are going to appear in this ranking. Maybe that's for another video. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Number 16, Mario Circuit. One of the most boring tracks in the entire game. Like the other Mario Circuit tracks in the series, it's pretty bland and uninteresting. The most action you will get is a few Goombas and Piranha Plants. I also think that all the bumps on the road complement Double Dash's physics really well and make it enjoyable to play. While this isn't a terrible course, it's definitely the least interesting compared to all the other tracks in the game. Number 15, Mushroom City. Mushroom City is the only track in Double Dash that I just don't really care about that much. While it's a decent track, the cars aren't even an obstacle, they're just pretty annoying. And depending on your display, this track could be pretty close to unplayable because it's so damn dark. Like there's barely any lights on this track. When I play it on my older TV with a very low backlight, it's definitely difficult to see. But looking at the positives, I like how there are multiple paths you can take, and the general course layout is pretty good. It's a good track, but it doesn't really do that much to stand out, so I don't care for it that much. Number 14, Luigi Circuit. Strangely enough, this track appears before Mario Circuit, being the first track in the Mushroom Cup. Like Mario Circuit, this stage really isn't all that interesting. There's a chain chomp and a couple of boost panels, but that's about it. It's pretty cool how you can interact with the racers driving the other way, and you can see Luigi's Mansion in the background. For what it is, this is a pretty good track. Number 13, Yoshi Circuit. I always go back and forth on what one I prefer, but I have to give Yoshi Circuit the edge. Let's get the obvious out of the way. The track is shaped like a Yoshi, which is pretty cool, and surprisingly, it plays decently well. The layout is really fun, and it complements Double Dash's floaty physics really well. There are also plenty of shortcuts and tight turns to take. Just like the other circuit tracks, it's not the most interesting, but a fun course nonetheless. I think it's the best circuit track out of the bunch. Number 12, Wario Coliseum. This might be a hot take, but I'm not the biggest fan of this track. It's pretty neat how this is the first track in the series to have 2 laps, but I'm just not too crazy about this course. Visually, it's not that amazing to look at, it's pretty bland. The track itself uses like 3 colors and that's about it. The layout is also pretty all over the place and can be confusing at times. Even though I've been crapping on it a lot, it's still a pretty fun track to play on. All the jumps and tight turns are satisfying to drive on and it'll keep you on your toes. It's not the best track in the entire game, but it's suitable. Number 11, Dry Desert. Dry Desert is one of those guilty pleasure courses for me. A lot of people seem to not like this course, but I think it's pretty solid. Sure, it may be a bit boring and bland to look at, but it's far from bad. The pokies can be pretty difficult to avoid when you're going for the double item boxes, which are usually in between them. And the whirlpool section in the middle of the course is pretty fun to navigate. It's definitely not the most interesting track in this game, far from it, but Mario Kart 8's take on it definitely improves this track. But in Double Dash, it's a pretty good pick and solid overall. Number 10, DK Mountain. One of the only Double Dash courses I feel like was made worse in the Mario Kart 8 Booster Course Pass. But in Double Dash, it's pretty good. Firstly, the course looks amazing, and the course layout is honestly really solid. You get shot up to the top of the mountain, and you have to drive your way down. As said with the other courses, this course definitely shines because of Double Dash's floaty physics. In Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the physics are way different. You pretty much drop like a rock. But here, it's floaty, so the course complements it well. Number 9, Peach Beach. Peach Beach really highlights the 2000 summer of the Gamecube. While the course doesn't have that much going on, that's not really a negative here. This course is much more relaxing and open. There are multiple paths you can go on, and even a pipe which grants you a double item box. Is it faster? Not at all, it's way slower, but it's nice that it's here. There are also cataquacks roaming the beach that will launch you in the air if you hit them. Peach Beach is such a relaxing and fun course to drive on. The vibe is really relaxing here. Sometimes simplicity is good. Number 8, Sherbet Land. Another course that was remade in Mario Kart 8. And I've always liked Double Dashes a bit more, even if 8 has more going on. Let's get the obvious out of the way. Because it's an ice track, this track is super slippery. Double Dash's controls in general are very slippery to begin with, and ice physics definitely add to the slipperiness. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but I'm not jumping for joy about this. At least it makes the course more interesting. The track layout is much more open than other tracks, with lots of things to avoid like freezies and pools of frozen water. Although I'm not a fan of the ice physics, it's still a pretty good track. Number 7, Dino Dino Jungle, one of the only tracks in the series to be based on dinosaurs. Dino Dino Jungle is probably one of the most difficult courses in Double Dash. There are tons of dinosaurs, geysers, tight turns, and short paths to traverse. That's what makes this course so fun. What makes it fun is that it's a pretty difficult course, but I mean it's a part of the Special Cup, so that's to be expected. It's a really good course, and a shame it didn't make it into the Booster Course Pass. Number 6, Baby Park. The shortest track in Mario Kart history. It may seem weird to have Baby Park so high. I mean, it's just an oval, but hear me out. This track is 7 laps of some of the most chaotic Mario Kart gameplay ever. Bowser shells flying around, giant bananas on the track, green shells and Yoshi eggs everywhere. It's just pure chaos. The reason that whenever Nintendo remakes this course and it isn't as good as Double Dash is because Double Dash has some of the most chaotic items in the series. That's what makes this course so fun. It's the most boring Mario Kart track to drive on, but the items in your opponents makes this track more fun than it should be. Number 5, Mushroom Bridge. I've always viewed this as a better version of Mushroom City. Mushroom Bridge in my opinion is better than Mushroom City because the track layout is honestly much more interesting. You drive through a tunnel, on a bridge, or you can even go on the sides of it. The cars provide a fun challenge to avoid but aren't as obnoxious as they are in Mushroom City. There are also a pretty large amount of shortcuts in this track too. It's pretty sad this track didn't return in 8 Deluxe because it's really good and it would shine with a remake. Number 4, Daisy Cruiser. Similar to Peach Beach, this has a really relaxing and tropical vibe to it. Taking place on a cruise ship, you drive around, on top, and inside of it. It's honestly a really unique idea for a Mario Kart track. Unfortunately, you can't go in the pool, but you can in the remix of this track in Mario Kart 7 and Mario Kart 8. The layout in general is just fun. There are plenty of tight turns and dodging tables in the dining room. This is just a really simple but really good track. Number 3, Rainbow Road. Although this isn't my favorite Rainbow Road, it's still a really fun one to drive on. It's definitely Rainbow Road because damn, this has to be the brightest Rainbow Road in the entire series. Everything in this course is rainbow. This track isn't as wild as the newer Rainbow Roads, but it's still super difficult. There are a lot of tight turns on this track. This part of all the boost panels especially is super difficult. You get launched into the air at one point, stars fall from the sky and onto the track, all the Mario references in the sky. This track is definitely a treat. Number 2, Bowser's Castle. Like Rainbow Road, this isn't my favorite Bowser's Castle in the series, but definitely a top 3. This track is pretty wild. You have to dodge gigantic fire bars, leap over massive gaps, and a huge Bowser statue shooting fireballs at you. Being in the Special Cup, there are so many tight turns. It's a pretty difficult track to master. This is just such an enjoyable and creepy track to drive on. And number 1, Waluigi Stadium. This is one of my favorite Mario Kart tracks in the entire series, aside from Koopa Cape. Everything about this stage is amazing. All the jumps and leaps are so satisfying to do, and the boost panels on this track make it fast and chaotic. The atmosphere is crazy with the crowd, the music is amazing, it's just a perfect track. The game also rewards you for jumping in the middle of fire rings by giving you a double item box. I'm so happy this got remade in Wii and 8 Deluxe, as this track definitely deserves it. Well, that about wraps up the video. Thanks so much for watching it and making it to the end. If you liked it, remember to like and subscribe. If this video does well, I'll make a video about all the battle tracks in Double Dash. Remember to join the Discord if you want to talk with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.